That is the face of a guy not having a good day. That was April 17, 1967, and that hand was not the hand of Canadian actor Johnathan Frid, who had played the first sympathetic vampire in film history, but that of a series double. Anyway, what we're going to talk about today is one of the most popular soap opera shows ever, even after its cancellation of just 5 short years into its run. The arrival of Barnabus Collins came with episode 211 of Dark Shadows. He is the undead, a 175-year-old vampire, once the heir to the Collins family fishing empire, but cursed by a vengeful witch, Angelique, who summoned a vampire bat from hell to attack him. His arrival back from the dead would be the beginning of a cult phenomenon that would last over 50 years, spawn a multitude of merchandise, and 3 motion pictures. Not bad for a daytime soap opera. How ironic is it that the freeing of Barnabus Collins from the shackles of the grave would also resurrect the failing show of Dark Shadows, which had been on the air at ABC for over a year but had floundered in the ratings. No one involved in the show could have foreseen the impact that a singular character could have. In fact, Dan Curtis, the series creator and executive producer, originally thought that Barnabas would just be a short run and nothing more. The character of Barnabus Collins would prove to be a merchandising bonanza. Pretty soon everything was covered in some image of Barnabus Collins or Dark Shadows, everyone's favorite vampire. There would be bubblegum, comic books, puzzles, plastic model kits, Halloween costumes, and so on and so on. The cult popularity of this vampire proved so large that 2 movies sprang up at the very time the demanding work schedule of the soap opera was still in production. The first movie, The House of Dark Shadows, was released on October 1970, and it portrayed a more sinister Barnabas, made in line with the stereotypical Hollywood vampire. The second movie, The Night of Dark Shadows, didn't include Barnabus Collins, but Quentin Collins, portrayed by David Selby, who along with his co-star, Kate Jackson, made their feature film debut. The movie, however, was not as successful at the box office or with critics. By 1971, the sun was beginning to rise for Barnabus Collins. And if you know your vampire lore, the rising sun is not your friend. The skin gets a little ashy. The last that we see of the character Barnabas, not the series, but the character of Barnabus Collins, happens in episode 1198. And it's in the 1840 timeline, and it's where Barnabas tells Angelique that he loves her, and at that instant an intruder shoots Angelique with a pistol. She dies and becomes the final victim of the curse that she had put on Barnabas, that is, where everyone he loves will die. Even after the daytime series ended in 1971 with 1,225 episodes, both the show and the character of Barnabus Collins would live on. Johnathan Frid took very few film roles after the end of Dark Shadows, preferring instead to do readings at Dark Shadows conventions and developing one-man shows. He did, however, reprise his role as the reluctant vampire in 2010 in a Dark Shadows series of audio dramas. The Dark Shadows show itself would go on. In the 1990s, it was rebooted by NBC for a short primetime run, where it was again produced by Dan Curtis. The Barnabas character was portrayed by Ben Cross. More recently, in 2012, Dark Shadows was rebooted in a large way as a major motion picture directed by Tim Burton, starring Johnny Depp in the Barnabas role, but it never quite found its audience. The movie took a more tongue-in-cheek comedic approach, which many of the fans of the show didn't appreciate. Johnathan Frid did make a cameo appearance in the movie, and it would be perhaps fittingly Frid's final role. He died just shortly before the film's release from complications of pneumonia and that of a fall. He was 87 years old. If you've enjoyed any of the Dark Shadows incarnations, please comment below and subscribe. Thank you.
If you would, you may tell her that it's Barnabus Collins.